Dude, this EP, I mean, dude, it kicks ass. It's awesome.
Thank you, man.
Definitely, man. Was this one of those things where, the lockdown, the quarantine's happening, you've just got some spare time, you're sitting around writing, and it's like, holy shit, this stuff is really good, let's record this? Or, I mean, why do an EP right now, and an acoustic EP too?
Well, I mean, it kind of, there's a few things, man, that, to be honest with you, I just finished my first solo tour.
Mm-hmm.
I came home a few weeks later. My mom passed away. I went and saw her in North Carolina. I came home, and then the lockdown happened, and I immediately I didn't really know how to process all of that. It was kind of very unsettling, obviously, and
sure.
I knew. I said I want to write an EP. I want to write some new songs. I want to flush this out through music. Contacted some people, my manager and the label. I was like, would you guys be interested in? Since I can't tour, that was all kind of being blown out. I'm not going to just sit here and, get sad about it. I just want to write. I want to process all this, losing my mom, what I was observing in the world, So it was very intentional. I didn't have anything written before. I didn't anticipate doing a new release for a long time,
Especially,
it kind of happened. Especially
so soon after the full-length release, because that released in, January or something, I think?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's been and plus the Sevendust, obviously you guys are going to be releasing something sometime here soon too, I think. I mean, this has been a hell of a year. I mean, there's been some good, but there's been some really shitty stuff too. But did you want to do something acoustically from the very beginning, or was it just like that's just how it just came out?
Well, I knew that I was going to be limited. I knew I wanted to base it in acoustic. I knew I wanted to incorporate some electronical elements to it, the program into keys and synths.
Sure.
And so I actually called Brian from 10 Years, the drummer and guitar player.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of some of the soundscaping behind some of the raw stuff that I did. And I wrote some of it on keyboards and piano, just real simple stuff, but it was really cool. I knew that the starting point was going to be different. It wasn't going to be a typical rock record. So, just based on the fact that I had to do it a certain way.
Gotcha.
Remotely, really.
That makes sense. One song that really, and I don't know why this one stands out to me so much, but I'm wrong. That song in particular really stands out to me. I mean, what is that song to you? And is there any song out of the ones on this EP that mean more to you than the others?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. That one was kind of a sleeper track. Really it's about, looking at myself as being able to, if I want to attract negative dark cloud scenarios, I can easily do that. I tend to always, my default setting is always, I wake up in a negative, end of the world is here mindset. So it takes me a long time to kind of snap myself out of that. I have tools and stuff I do, but that song is really about self-sabotage and how we can right when we think things are going to be great, something will happen. And, and it's just kind of focusing on that instead of trying to focus on, life happens. It's just what happens. You got to be positive, but it's a very sad song, but that's what I like. I've always gravitated to that, and
that might be why I like it so much.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things where I'm just kind of explaining through song how I feel about life and, at certain times, and how that, I need to watch out because you manifest what you think you manifest.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I wanted to ask you, I've been wanting to ask you about this for a few years now, but obviously this is the first time I've had a chance to sit down with you. What was it like working with Michael Sweet and Stryper a few years ago on the Yahweh song?
Man, first off, I was a huge Stryper fan when I was young. Giant fan. I loved the production, the harmonies, all of it. I was a huge fan. Played one of their songs at a talent show.
Nice. Nice.
But it was cool. We did it remotely. We didn't get a chance to sit down and write, which was a kind of a bummer. But he gave me some starting points, and he said I wanted to be in this tuning and. Just a really cool kind of spark idea. And I just kind of wrote what type of Stryper riff I would want to hear, Right. Because I knew it. And then I sent an idea, but they really took it from where what I sent, they really made an incredible song out of it. I thought it was really cool, and
Yeah.
they used a few of the things I sent, but it was just, I think it was cool for him to ask. It was an honor, and yeah, it was cool, man. Definitely one of those things I like on my resume for sure.
Yeah. Have you listened to their newer stuff, or mainly just like their older stuff?
I listen to all of it, to be honest. I always give it one listen at least, And,
Awesome.
I think it's cool, man, that they're still they continue to throw them out there, man, one after the other, and I'm hoping Oz Fox is okay, and they can continue doing what they do. He's a proactive guy, so it's cool that they continue to put out music that's cool.
Yeah, oh God, I love that band so much. So that was really cool. I was glad I got to ask you about that. But this going solo, releasing your solo record this year, it's not the first time you've been the front person of a musical project. You've sing lead quite a few times in the past, but is it different when it's the Clint Lowery name on it and it's your baby and it's yours and it's your band, or is it pretty much the same when you've done projects in the past?
I mean, it for some reason, all those things I did before were kind of like a learning experience, my education into actually being quote unquote a front man.
Right.
Because I think that's a whole different skill set in terms of performing it live. But having the endurance to sing the entire set, all these things were really humbling, and I've really learned that, and having my name attached to it, there's an additional pressure to that. But so if you do good and people really like it, it's a great thing because your name name is there. If it doesn't, then you're like completely exposed and there's no one else to blame. So I've really enjoyed it. I think people have been open-minded to it. Obviously, Sevendust fans, for the most part, are really cool, and they understand that it's just a thing that I need to do from time to time. And yeah, man, it's been humbling, to be honest with you.
Sevendust fans are very loyal too. So if one of you guys goes out and does a side project, the fans they're gonna check it out. They're gonna be there when you play because your guys' fan base is one of the most loyal, dedicated, diehard fan bases of any band out there. Every band has a diehard fan base, but Sevendust fans take it to another level.
Yeah.
I
really love it, man.
Yeah.
You gotta think we've seen some of these faces for 20 years, 20 plus years, so you really get to know them.
Yeah.
Like you're not in passing. You talk to them. Now the VIPs really give us an opportunity to be right up in there. We would have done that anyway. We don't need that. We interact with people, so you form relationships with them.
Yeah, and some of the cities you played on the solo tour or on the tour with Alter Bridge, you played with Sevendust over the summer when you were out with Skillet, and I know you played Indy a couple times, in particular, which that Indy's always been good with Sevendust. But was it kind of interesting to kind of revisit the same cities more than once in like a calendar year? Because you don't usually do that a whole lot.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting going back to, Sevendust has played everywhere, a few times. So it would be really hard to not go repeat some of those venues. But
True.
It's cool to go back on your own and just kind of stand up there with this new group of guys and try to win people over.
Yeah.
You always see occasional Sevendust fan in the audience with the shirt kind of winking at you. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's they're like our little warriors, like helping us out. But yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah,
and you talked earlier about kind of, stepping it on your own, being a little bit more pressure when there's your name on it. I can't think of a better tour to be on for your first full-on solo tour than a tour with Alter Bridge, because Mark from Alter Bridge did his own solo thing as well and has a really successful solo career with Tremonti. Did you guys talk about that at all, kind of that common denominator between the two of you there, to kind of talk about what it was like for him at any point, or was that just kind of unspoken, really?
No. Mark and I have talked about it at length, a few times, and I would always ask him different things about his experience with it as a singer, as stepping out on his own. So we're kindred spirits in that way. I have a tremendous respect for him, and we've had lots of discussions. I think we're different, but we're the same in a lot of ways. His role in Alter Bridge is kind of my role in Sevendust.
Yeah.
He sings in that band as well. But it was really cool. He kind of stepped out and did it. I liked some of the framework of what he did, so I utilized a little bit of that, and I tried to do my own twist on it. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to just use Lowery and do the same thing. I wanted,
right.
I also have brothers that are musicians, so I couldn't really take that name by myself. But
right.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that I really respect and get inspired by.
Yeah, and I lost my train of thought there for a second.
I do it all the time.
I know what it was. So when COVID hit and everything a couple of months ago, were you still in the middle of the Renegades touring cycle, or that kind of wound down when all of this hit? Because a lot of bands and artists were literally like mid-tour and had to leave, pack up, and go home. I mean, where were you at, like, tour-wise? It's like the touring cycle, because the record had just released, and you were maybe a month or two into that cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I had plans to do a tour in May. I had a book, a few shows with Starset, some headline shows. I had that booked, and I had some festivals. I was going to do Epic Center in North Carolina. And all that. Yeah, so all that got blown out. I was going to do some stuff in the summer, but it all kind of got shut down, and man, it's unfortunate for a lot of people, man. So I'm not going to complain about it. I'm so glad I was able to get out there with the Alter Bridge, though.
Yeah.
Now, before it got shut down and had that experience, it would have really been tough had this happened right when I started.
Yeah.
And not being able, I've been waiting to do it many years, So I at least I got that out, and learned a lot. I'll do more shows. Maybe I'll end up opening up for Sevendust on a couple.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I was going to ask if you were maybe going to, because a lot of bands are kind of picking back up where they left off or planning to when all this lifts, but I know Sevendust, you guys at some point are going to have a new record coming out as well. So, I mean, that's going to be really interesting how those two things kind of coincide or coexist there. I mean, for lack of better terms, at some point. I mean, new music coming soon from Sevendust, or are we still?
Man.
It's been a couple years now, so.
Yeah, it's time, man. We've done a record. We've had the record done for a while.
Okay.
We were going to release. We didn't plan on releasing it for a while anyway. We wanted to kind of go dark for a while, and that's why I'm doing mine. John's doing a record right now. Morgan's doing his own EP. But Sevendust record's done. I'm really excited about it. I mean, there's going to be some stuff coming out real soon. That's why I'm kind of glad this EP's out.
Yes.
And, we kind of let that live a little bit, and then it's back into the mothership.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's going to be awesome when all that gets started and gets going. I mean, the EP, obviously it's going to be awesome to hear what fans are starting to say, now that it's out and everything. I mean, Sevendust fans are going to love it. Your fans are going to love it. I mean, it's a good record, and thank you for giving us some new music to digest and love in the middle of all this going on. I feel like
no problem.
The world really needs that, and the metal community, rock community has always been about unity and supporting each other to begin with, really, and I feel like this is something that we could all use right now. So. Oh
man, thank you, man. I'm 100% with you, and I need it. I lean on music just as much as everyone else. I'm a fan of it. I stand in lines and go to buy tickets just like everyone. So it's cool, man. I'm glad that I hope people dig it, man.